something for you really quick.
Okay, hey, welcome everybody. Today we're going to do an introduction to Defcon, a hacker conference held in Las Vegas annually, and Defcon Furs, a kind of con within a con. It focuses on Defcon. It's a quick agenda with some introductions. I'm Tanuski, or Steve. We'll go into in a second. We'll introduce our other speakers. We'll do an intro to Defcon, which is the large conference. We'll do an intro to Defcon Furs. We'll do a little bit about the Defcon Furs badge. We'll talk about contests, which is part of the fun of being at Defcon. And then we'll talk about badge life, which are exposure to some of the other badges and some of the other fun that we have at Defcon. So I'm Tanuski, Steve. I've been an InfoSec guy for a long time. I had my first InfoSec title. It was actually in 1990, 1989 actually. It was a little different back then, but it's been a lot of fun growing up with InfoSec as a career, and InfoSec as an industry, and InfoSec as a way to think and a way to be. I'm also a furry. I'm a puppy handler, hacker, kinkster, and one of the co-founders of Defcon Furs. So my Twitter handle is @TheBigTanuski. Please say hi. Love to talk to folks. DM me, whatever. Okay.
Hey guys, Alofoxx. I'm also one of the co-founders of Defcon Furs. Work in application security and have a lot of interests in the shenanigans of Defcon, which you'll hear some about in this panel. And you can find me at MetaHope on Twitter.
And I'm Fixius. I'm relatively new, I guess, to the InfoSec compared to Steve, but I've been doing this in some flavor for 5 or 6 years. I started as just doing IT, but with my background in programming, I switched over to InfoSec consulting, and now I'm an in-house security engineer. Outside of InfoSec, I do hobbyist electrical engineering, and I hoard books, and as you can tell, I'm a dragon. Rawr. You can find me on the web at those links. Feel free to give me a follow. I sometimes tweet and or blog about interesting things.
Cool. So let's get started.
Yeah, so...
Oops, I boo-booed here. What'd I do?
Go back.
There we go.
So Defcon was started in 1993 as a farewell party for a hacker by a guy named the Dark Tangent. I'm glad I have my own copy of these slides, Steve.
Sorry.
So it quickly grew into what is the world's largest conference for security professionals, journalists, lawyers, federal government employees, security researchers, students, and hackers, where hackers is the key term there. There are a lot of very large security conferences, but is only one other hacker conference I can think of with Defcon scale and breadth. And it covers topics from everything from software, computer architecture, phone phreaking, which is hacking of the phone system, hardware modification or hardware hacking, and anything else that can be hacked with a very liberal definition of the term hacking, up to and including hacking your own body. So where did the name come from? Dark Tangent, which, by the way, is the coolest hacker name ever for someone who started in the 90s. The short answer is a combination of places. There was a summer con in the summer, a ho-ho con in the winter, a pump con during the Halloween, etc. I didn't want any association with time of year. So if you are a freak, that is a phone phreaker, you can just use your phone, and you'll note that DEF is number 3. And if you're into military lingo, you'll notice that DEFCON is short for defense condition. If you've ever seen war games, which you should have, especially if you care about DEFCON, you'll know a little bit about that. So the answer to where the name come from is it's very conveniently from a lot of places. How big is it? Well, the answer is it's really, 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 really big. This is the DC-27 floor plan, or I should say floor plans. There were 3 of them. It takes over 3 hotels in Vegas, and it gets bigger all the time. I think it was going to be 4 hotels. My bad. 4 hotels in Vegas. And that's just the con space. That doesn't cover all of the associated parties and other stuff that spills out into the general Vegas strip and outside area. So you get convention space, which is, people just hanging out. You get a bunch of talk space. That's a big focus of DEF CON is talks, people showing off cool stuff they've hacked. or maybe how to defend against hacks, but that's less fun. You get a lot of interactive stuff like villages and which are topic specific areas. You get vendor space, you get hangout space, and you get side events like ours
And huge dance parties.
and huge dance parties.
All kinds of fun stuff.
So one of the biggest things about DEF CON is not just the con itself, but the side events. So you get things like DEF CON Furs, QueerCon, which is an LGBTQ plus friendly sort of side space where they have their own talks that focus sort of on that kind of thing, and they have their own area and their own badge and so on. You get the Diana Initiative, which is I believe it's a women in technology side conference.
Used to be called TiaraCon,
And
then it exploded and became Diana.
Got it. So they're not all kind of queer inclusion type of spaces. There's the Whiskey Pirates event, which is just people drinking whiskey. There's a lot of side events that may or may not become official enough to get official recognition from DEF CON, but you can still go to them, and the DEF CON goons, the staff, will probably show up anyway.
Yep.
Next.
With 30,000 people, right, there's an endless sea of interesting side groups.
And of course, LineCon, which is so DEF CON, when you go to buy a badge, unlike, let's say, a furry convention where you're encouraged to register in advance, the only way to get a badge at DEF CON is to show up with $300 in cash and be physically handed over and receive your badge. There is no registration in terms of, we need your name and your email and your ID to make sure you're whatever. It's you got money, you get a badge. So there is a long tradition of lining up overnight and hanging out with all the other hackers while you wait for the registration to open so you can buy your badge.
Yep, you meet great people in LineCon. It's part of the fun of it, as you can tell, right? People aren't just standing in line.
Yeah, there's people bring pizza. There's like a pizza party. You got some people that bring like this little like backpack bartender setup. There's people that are like party, like it's a thing.
Yeah.
There's a great tradition in the halls when they set it up, LineCon, that has chandeliers. There's always going to be like 4,000 beach balls trying to get stuck in the chandeliers. It's a game.
And it goes on for hours and hours and hours. This is something that starts the night before. At least it's indoors. A few years ago, it was outdoors in Vegas in August. That was fun.
It's like Black Friday, but fun.
So, what do you do at DEF CON? Well, the short answer is, of course, that you hack stuff. But the longer answer and the more fun answer is you do like a little bit of everything. So there's things like Hacker Jeopardy, where you form a team and you can do Jeopardy style questions about hacker topics, which is everything from hacker history to software to hacking to electrical stuff to social, Googling stuff and hoping that you're the first people to get the right answer. You can also, in lying in the DEF CON theme of it being a barely disguised alcoholic's dream, drink a beer for points. And you can drink many beers for many points.
Does anyone know the answer to that question up there? Symantec originally called it W33 temp HID.
Isn't that Stuxnet?
Very good. That's exactly right. That became Stuxnet later.
Awesome.
And if you had no idea what the answer to that was, you're just like me.
For those playing along at home, Stuxnet was a major worm allegedly created by certain national intelligence agencies to attack certain other nation states.
In particular, their centrifuges.
Yes.
Yes.
So the other thing, of course, you do is hacking. This is beyond the interesting stock photo, is a picture of a Capture the Flag event. So a Capture the Flag event, and the DEF CON one is one of the biggest and most prestigious, is where you usually form a team. There will be some kind of a series of challenges where you try to hack stuff, basically. And the idea is that you're practicing these skills against, targets with varying levels of realism, but where, you hack something, you get a flag, right? It'll be a file on the computer, or you decrypt a file, and the decrypted file is the flag, and you put the flag into the Capture the Flag webpage, and then you get points, and whoever gets the most points wins. And the DEF CON
And
one
for
is particularly devious every year. They always come up with some crazy challenge that is ridiculously hard to do. Like one year, they infamously came up with a trinary computer architecture and made you reverse engineer programs in the trinary computer architecture in order to figure out how to get the flags. You skipped the slide. Yep. So
That one?
yes, this one. So there's also, of course, hardware hacking, which is closer to the original definition of hacking, where you try to take stuff apart, figure out how it works, put it back together, maybe better than it came for, maybe with a few screws missing. And there's a long tradition of doing hardware hacking at DEF CON, either planned, like, oh, we're going to try and do something, or impromptu, like, what if I did this? DEF CON has the Hardware Hacking Village, which is a volunteer-run area where people bring hardware hacking tools like soldering irons and tweezers and screwdrivers and so on, where people can either assemble kits that they buy or just mess with stuff that they found. Next. And of course, lockpicking. So there's a sort of association with lockpicking at hacker conventions, partially because physical security and computer security are linked, but partially because it's fun and we like fun stuff. If you've ever met someone who is into this sort of thing, you'll know that they like being in places they're not allowed to be, whether that's online or in person, and lockpicking is definitely how you get to do that. Not that we would, of course, condone actually breaking into anything, but it just sort of happens sometimes.
At least not without permission.
Yes. The fun of lockpicking, of course, not just the illicit aspect, shall we say, is that it's kind of like a puzzle once you figure out how to do it. And the lockpicking village at DEF CON is very happy to show you. You can get some pretty easy locks that are, you open it, they sort of open if you breathe on them, and you can get some pretty hard locks that are pretty hard to pick. I personally am okay at it, not great. You'll get some very crazy people there. If you know who the lockpicking lawyer is, he shows up occasionally. So they also have not just locks in the traditional sense where, you pin and tumbler locks. You can try to pick into the rotating locks. You can try to pick into other kinds of locks. And there's even a tamper evident village that tries to defeat tamper evidence mechanisms, like, the tape that says, do not open if this tape is not perfect or something. People showing you how to bypass those mechanisms as well.
Huh.
This is somewhat infamous. It's the Wall of Sheep, which is essentially the people who run the DEF CON NOC, the DEF CON Network Operations Center, monitor the traffic for people who are submitting credentials in plain text, not encrypted. And if you are silly enough to do that, then you show up on the Wall of Sheep because you should be using encryption for your credentials. This is sort of the origin of the advice that is given to people, not with perhaps a little bit more paranoia than is necessary, that you should never do anything with any online account anywhere near DEF CON. Because it used to be that there was quite a bit less encryption involved and you could end up on the Wall of Sheep, but nowadays it's a little bit more secure.
In fact, this picture's from a couple years back. Wall of Sheep is not as much fun anymore, to be honest.
Yeah. There was, last time I went, someone did manage to get it to show the lyrics to Never Gonna Give You Up, though. That was fun.
Yes, that was cool.
So this is the Roots Asylum. It's actually a kid-friendly event at DEF CON. It was a bit of a problem before this showed up, because there's a lot of drinking and a lot of people doing dangerous things and not much for kids. So people who had kids couldn't really show up. But then we had the Roots Asylum, which is essentially the kid-friendly DEF CON event. They teach them basics of hardware hacking. They have little kits for them to solder stuff onto and learn skills that are actually useful, and hopefully encourage them to get into security as they grow up. I would have really liked to have had this around if I was a kid.
It's a really awesome program.
Yeah, it's a really awesome. I volunteered for this for several years, and I can tell you that it's more fun being a volunteer, I think, than it is being a kid, because you get to watch. One year we had this little girl. She was about 8, so second grade-ish, third grade, somewhere in there. And she came to, we have a bunch of equipment you can just take apart. We'll bring a whole bunch of equipment you can take apart. She knew exactly the parts she was looking for. She knew what devices they were probably in. She was going to take them apart and take them back home. She's desoldering things, and she's going to take them back home, and she was assembling her own machine. And she's in the second grade. It was so awesome. right? And I take no credit other than I was the guy who happened to be standing by the big pile of junk that you could take apart. Right? But it was just super fun to watch. And she's just one example. It's all over, and it's all ages. Yeah. The only thing is that if you're not a volunteer, you have to have your parent. That's the only rule.
And of course, badges, which we will talk about a little bit more later. But there's a vigorous trade in people making and selling and trading for and hacking on badges, which are usually wearable, not always wearable, but usually wearable little electronic devices that glow and light up and do stuff and look funny. We'll get into
The
those a little bit
shinies.
more later. Yes, they are shinies. I like the shinies.
Yes, shinies. Shinies with oftentimes puzzles built in, so you can spend hours playing with your badge.
And of course, dance parties. Basically every year at DEF CON, there's a big dance party runs through pretty much most of the con. But
that is not a stock photo.
Yes.
Yeah, that picture on the bottom right is not a stock photo. It's actually DEF CON. Insane.
We get DJs from the community. We get artists from the community. There's always a call for music and call for art for people who maybe are interested in showing up and want to contribute but aren't super technical. And people just have fun.
That picture on the left is from the AP, isn't it?
I think
No,
so.
it looks like the chandeliers look like they're from the AP.
AP is the Alexis Park, which is the original DEF CON hotel and where the last QueerCon and DEF CON Furs events were. There's also parties. There's a lot of parties. There's a guy who maintains a calendar of all the parties, and you can see on the right that there are many, many, many parties. Some of them are more formal events like ours, where there's actually an organization and we show up and we have scheduling and so on. And there's a lot of parties that are just, hey, we all like this thing. Let's show up and get drunk and talk about it.
Or go shooting.
Or go shooting, yes.
Yeah.
And you definitely cannot attend all of them. Clearly, they overlap.
You can try, but I would hate to be your liver.
If you're the sort of person that attends furry convention and gets FOMO, fear of missing out, going to DEF CON will cure you of that really fast, because you will not attend everything you want to attend at DEF CON ever. So you'll get used to it really fast.
Either that or institutionalize you, one of the two.
One of the two.
Yeah, because this is just the parties. This is not all. This is the known parties, as you say, unknown parties, and then all the actual official events are a whole different calendar. And official events are going on basically 24 hours a day for 4 days. Al, thank you very much, Fixius. Alo, you want to talk about DEF CON Furs?
Yeah. So why are we talking about this hacker convention? Well, we have this thing called DEF CON Furs. Are you furry? Do you like to hack stuff, or think you might, or have any interest? Then DEF CON Furs is for folks just like you. So basically, as we kind of hinted towards earlier, there's a lot of sub communities, sub cons, things happening inside of DEF CON. All these villages, all these things. So we have basically the history of DEF CON Furs. We used to have this small little room meetup and try to find all the furries that were going, like search Twitter, all my followers, or any of them mention DEF CON, could they possibly be here? And we got like maybe 2 or 3. We'd all like pick a day of the convention to meet up in the hotel room, have pizza, talk about adventures and stuff, and it slowly kind of grew out of that room. Telegram became a thing, of course, and everybody's connected these days. So we created DEF CON Furs group. It turned into kind of like an official thing. We got a suite set up and had like our first official quote unquote DEF CON Furs event in 2017.
Yeah, I guess.
I think
probably 17.
Yeah, that's when we actually, like, it wasn't no longer just, hey, come to one of our rooms and we'll just kind of meet up. And I remember you bringing that awesome whiskey and we were just like tasting everything, and we actually got a physical suite that is dedicated meet space for the DEF CON Furs group. And since then, we've basically become a known entity in DEFCON. Everybody knows who we are. We're not like this, oh, it's the weird furries over here. It's like literally everybody is aware that we exist. They love coming hanging out with us because if you've ever been to a real life convention or hanged out with other furries, I know a lot of us are online right now, but if you've ever been to a physical event, we know how to party and people love that. So it's a fun time. We basically throw a mini furry convention at DEFCON. So there's con stuff to do. We host our own little subset of panels at DEFCON in our space that are basically either furry centric or members of the furry community that contribute. There's a lot of furries in security, as there is a lot of furries in IT. It's just a thing. There's challenges, participating in the CTFs. We have puzzles. Like our badge usually has some kind of little challenge on it that's a little bit scavenger hunt, a little bit kind of hacker challenge. Definitely lots of parties. We have our own dances, lineup of DJs, our own little dance room, pool parties, and we are a nonprofit organization as well. So usually we are running a fundraiser for local Vegas charities. And because the nature of furry conventions, we usually raise money for charities. It's been successful every year. For over 10,000 donated just from individual contributions. Pretty nice. So if you think you might be interested in never attending DEFCON, definitely look us up because we have our own room block, part of the official convention hotel, where we all get put next to each other and can, be close to the party suite and just have a good time. In this massive event, you can find some people of common interest and not feel so, disoriented by the activities. Check out when it gets closer to next year, when we know what's going on in the world. If there is a physical DEFCON, we will have our own room block. You can check out our website at dcfurs.com. And follow our Twitter. That's usually our main source of information. Is at dcfurs.
Right. So just for reference, this show usually happens the first weekend in August.
Yeah.
Yeah, it moves around a little bit. It's usually first weekend in August. It starts on Thursday, runs through Sunday. We will have events Thursday through Sunday. DEFCON itself runs Thursday through Sunday. There's a little hangover stuff on Monday, but not much. It's you can come for any or all of it. You don't have to come for all of it. Participating in DEFCON Furs is not admission to DEFCON. So you will have to purchase your DEFCON badges in addition, your DEFCON badge in addition, and registration. It's cash, as you heard earlier.
Yeah.
And your DEFCON Furs things, they are separate.
Now, if you're too intimidated by the full conference, you don't have to buy your DEFCON badge. I mean, we really encourage it, especially if you're going to make the trip to attend the full convention. I know that sometimes we offer a scholarship if we can for those that may not, maybe students or are having some hardship of being able to get a badge. We try to help them out. But it is, if you have any interest in working in this field or just playing in this field, it is definitely a whole different kind of thing. It's not like any other convention you've been to before. Do not feel intimidated by not knowing stuff because every person there knows little compared to the entire knowledge of that convention. You go there, you learn things. Everybody knows that you're there to learn and they don't talk down to you for not knowing stuff.
Yep. You'll learn things, you'll meet people, you'll find things you never knew existed. It's literally endless with 30,000 attendees and what is it, 27 villages and how many CTFs all going on and how many side cons. There is something for everyone. But as Ala was saying, DEFCON Furs, you can come just to DEFCON Furs events. We do have folks who come just for DEFCON Furs. They don't go to DEFCON at all. because we have enough of a panel, enough schedule, and enough events and things you can attend, where you can come hang out with just furries who happen to be working in hackerspace. Okay. So I'll talk about this for a bit. So take a look at this. If anybody's reading along on the slides, this is a picture of an ATM. Defcon 17 was 11 years ago. And 11 years ago, they actually set up a fake ATM machine.
A whole shebang.
Yep, an ATM machine. Yeah.
They dollied that shit into the fucking floor.
Exactly, right? The whole thing. And the police removed it because it was it was a fake ATM machine, but not until it had been used. And this is part of the fun of DEF CON. So not to scare anybody, but DEF CON has people play it. They like in real life, except it's more fun. People try to punk each other and have some fun with each other. And you'll see things like portable cell towers. There were 2 years ago, there was a guy walking around with a portable cell tower in his backpack. And if you followed him around, you could watch. If you had your phone nearby, you could watch your phone actually jump over to his cell tower. He was cell tower and then transmitting it back up. That kind of stuff's just sort of part of the fun. So
all kinds of shenanigans. Yes.
Yeah, and this is just the kind of techie kind of stuff. There's also all the rest of it, as you heard before. Hacking is not limited just to tech. Not in the DEF CON context. Hacking can be literally anything.
As an example of non-tech hacking, there's also the DEF CON Scavenger Hunt, where every year they give you an increasingly ridiculous list of things you have to bring them.
Right? We've made it on there several times.
Yes, we have. The furries have made it on the DEF CON Scavenger list.
How's the picture of a fursuiter?
Yeah.
I was gonna say I used to staff a village, and we always had to stop people from stealing our furniture because somehow furniture always ends up on the scavenger hunt list, and we have to say no, we actually need that chair, thank you very much.
Exactly right. Some of the things are very difficult to obtain, believe me. If you've ever played along with Scavenger Hunt.
An uncut sheet of $2 bills.
For example, yes. Right.
Like literal printed sheet of money, uncut.
Yeah. Now the amazing thing is you can actually buy that in Las Vegas.
Oh, okay. That makes
they're what are they called? Non-circulation bills, or they're proof sheets. You can actually buy proof sheets.
There you go.
Yeah. Anyway, so yes, there's all sorts of fun things at DEF CON. So who's next? I apologize. I can't remember who's next now. Is it me?
I think it's still you.
Oh, okay. So this is part of the DEF CON thinking. This quote is from the mentor, right? The crime is curiosity. That's what I think drives so many of us to DEF CON and having fun there. We're curious. The whole Hack Your Lives theme is this idea that it's your life, make it what you want, be curious, learn new things, try new things, try it out. Don't let anyone tell you can't. Right? Don't hurt anybody, but don't let anyone tell you can't. Be who you want to be. That's hack your gender, hack your race, hack your anything, right? Hack your species, right? Don't let anybody tell you can't, right? And the idea is that you want to have fun. Okay. So this is a long running joke. DEF CON is canceled. You'll see this every year if you want to attend DEF CON. It's never actually happened. But every year you'll see a story about DEF CON is canceled. It's an inside joke. DEF CON attendees all giggle about this.
It's in the FAQ. Like literally one of the top lines. If you go to the DEF CON FAQ, it's like, no, it's not actually canceled. Or
yes.
At least it used to be.
Yes. Now, in 2020, let's be clear. 2020 was the first year that DEF CON, the physical DEF CON, was actually canceled. 2020 DEF CON was handled.
It's like a Waffle House.
Excuse me?
It's like a Waffle House. It just doesn't close.
Yeah. So DEF CON 2020 was handled in Discord and Twitch and YouTube and a bunch of other things, but mostly through Discord. So even though the physical DEF CON wasn't held in 2020, a virtual DEF CON was, and it raised a bunch of money for DEF CON and raised some money for charities. So DEF CON, you'll see this over and over again. Okay? This is another bit of the kind of punking hacking that happens. So as you heard earlier, the AP, the Alexis Park, is one of the original hotels for Defcon. Right? And I can't make this any bigger. I apologize, but if you could read through it, this is a note from the management of the Alexis Park, or purportedly from the management of the Alexis Park, right, to the department heads at the Alexis Park Hotel. Right? So, fountains and pools functioning with foreign dyes or bubbles. Those are acceptable during Defcon, right? Underage possession of alcohol and or smoking, acceptable during Defcon. My favorite one is the very last one, debauchery and or libation. Allowed during Defcon. Clearly, this didn't actually come from the management of the Alexis Park, as you can probably guess. It was at Defcon 10, I think, or Defcon 11 that this happened. It's a lot of fun. However, there's one in here that you should report: missing payphones or ATM machines. But it's an example of the kind of hacking and the kind of fun you can have at Defcon, and just how deep it runs. It literally is in like all sorts of weird areas. Again, curiosity will get you someplace. My best advice to anyone at Defcon is ask someone next to you what they do, what they're doing here, why are they here, what do they see that was fun? Random strangers, and you'll find stuff that you've never even imagined. I got invited to a really scary John McAfee party because of that once.
Oh God.
Yeah. It was quite literally hookers and blow. I mean, honest to God, like hookers and blow. It was the strangest thing I'd ever been to. It's not my scene. I didn't last very long at the party, to be honest, but I got invited because I talked to some random stranger. So if that's your scene, there you go. This is another one. So we talk about this Defcon safe.
Oh, that's a real one.
Yeah, this is a great one. Virus alert.
No, this is the real one.
Yeah, this is real. So in Defcon 2020, because we could not have a Defcon in person because of COVID-19, and frankly, all the hotels were shut down anyway, so there wasn't a place to even have the event. We had Defcon Safe Mode, which was, as I described earlier, this Discord and Twitch and a whole bunch of other ways to stream and share. And I thought this event was very, very successful. It was also nearly free, or was free if you wanted to run it that way.
Yeah, it was free.
You could pay $20 and get extra access. I think it was $20. But
you supported the convention, and it basically gave you some image posting privileges on the Discord.
Right. But
which with hackers, we live on memes, and so it was very much supported.
Yes, they raised quite a bit of money at $20 a piece instead of the $300 they raised for the in-person show. You might ask why Defcon is why Defcon seems expensive compared to a FurryCon. It's because Defcon really is 4 days. It's across an enormous space, as you just saw. It is, so Defcon has to pay for hotel and convention space at 4 hotels. They pay craft services. They pay all that stuff across 4 enormous hotels in the center of the Las Vegas Strip.
Yeah, it's crazy. You can spend hours just walking the hallways.
Yes.
Past all the rooms that are full of shit you could spend all day in that one room doing. It's insane. The content is amazing. There's stuff for everybody.
I have clocked 50 and 60,000 steps just wandering around Defcon. So, what do we say? This is our world now, right? The world of the electron, not the election, although I read it that way when I first saw it just now, and the switch, and the beauty of the bod. Right? This goes back to... Okay, are we? Okay. So the point is, this world's yours. Badges.
Badges. Yes. So Defcon badges are a huge part of the convention now. This is the second, actually, Defcon Furs badge. The first one did not light up and therefore was much less cool. But this one got quite a bit of praise from inside and outside Defcon Furs. It is the boop badge, because if you boop the snoot, it says boop. And the origination of this was Aloe once sat down and decided to say, what happens if we put a crap ton of LEDs on a badge? And then we decided to put a fox on it. And then
a bunch of smart people made it. I don't know electronics. A bunch of smart furries made this. So I'm not going to take the credit for that. But yeah, this is amazing.
And then we had the second boot badge, which is the first boot badge, but with RGB, because as you all know, everything has to have RGB. And it had interchangeable faceplates, which was pretty cool. And this will be the 2020 Defcon Furs badge, a bit delayed due to reasons that you could probably figure out. This one is the mask of RGB LEDs. I don't think you're probably not accepting orders for this anymore, right?
Yep, we are.
Oh, you are.
Donate.dcfurs.com if you want one.
If you want to put a bunch of RGB LEDs on your face and support a cool cause, then feel free to go donate.
Animations.
We don't have the animation up, but yeah, there it is. It is voice sensitive. It's motion sensitive. You can program it yourself. All 3 badges you were able to program yourself. They all run. We publish a code in Git, so you can go to GitHub and grab the code. You can write your own code. You can do what you want with them with the things. We post the bomb. You can actually make one yourself. It's all part of the DEF CON experience, and this is actually true for most of the badges at DEF CON. They'll post the code. They'll post they're hackable. They're programmable, right? So there you go as an example. Sorry,
everything's online on
I
GitHub.
Gun, sorry.
And you can see they animate, although the stream's kind of choppy. They animate very smoothly in real life.
Yes, they do. Sorry for the 15 frames a second. That's why I'm doing that to save bandwidth here at my house. Okay, let's talk about contests and hacking at DEF CON. So here's an example of the list of CTFs. These are contests. This was from 3 years ago, I think. Looks like about 3 years ago. And you'll get an idea. Basically, you can hack anything. There's homebrew hardware. There's Hospital Under Siege, which was a game to play. There's Mohawk Con, which are people with mohawks.
Beard contest.
Yeah, there was a beard contest. Yes, the beard contest was kind of amazing, actually. I went to go watch that one. It was like there's that contest in Germany that does a similar kind of thing. There's Drunk Hacker History, which is great fun to go to if you want to hear about the history of hacking. There's Dungeons at DEF CON, which is like a Dungeons and Dragons thing. Right. And so you can get this idea that there's kind of whatever you want to play, right? There's some place to play. And you'll find someone who's interested. There's Spell Check and Spelling Bee, right? I don't know what TD Francis Film Contest is. For example, maybe if there's one this year, maybe I'll go. Or next year, rather, maybe I'll go and learn something new. Tinfoil Hat was pretty funny. So it's lots of opportunity, lots and lots of time to have fun. Here's some of the groups that sponsor contests, for example, right? Cool logos, lots of cool art. DEF CON is filled with amazingly cool art and lots of fun. So this is actually people at a CTF. This is probably a DEF CON CTF. So DEF CON itself hosts a CTF, as do all of those groups you just saw. The DEF CON CTF is the most prestigious of all the CTFs held at DEF CON. It is the one that can award you a magical thing, which we'll talk about in a bit, called a black badge. Okay? We tell people, feel your passion, right? Ask questions. And we're going to run you through a little bit of what a CTF can feel like, okay? So here's an example. No code. Here's the warm-ups, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what comes next?
6.
If you answered 6, you get a point. And that's basically how a CTF works, okay? 2, 4, 6, 8, A.
C.
If you answer C, you get 2 more points.
Hex.
Okay, exactly. That's
Hex code. I see you out there. I know you're in one of the worlds. That's
and
your
then
name.
here's something
You probably
fun.
know that one.
This is a classic thing that happens in pretty much every DEF CON CTF. There's some variation of steganography. Steganography is the practice of hiding things inside of other things, usually images. Okay. So here we go. So what does that really mean when it comes to a CTF? So we're going to show you a picture of a duck. And this is what you'll get. This is the clue that you'll get. This was actually from a real clue, right? This duck is hiding something. Leave no stone unturned, no page uncovered to make him divulge his secrets. And there is a file, right? With that hex name, or it looks like hex to me, 323A, 322A. Yeah, it looks like hex to me. with no file extension. Okay, so you ask questions to yourself. Why does it have that name? What does that name mean? Why doesn't it have a file extension if it's a picture? Or maybe it's not a picture, maybe it's a duck, who knows, right? But it turned out that it was this. And that duck is actually hiding secrets that are embedded in the image. So the point of a CTF is think outside the box, right? That looks like a duck. So you pull out one of the classic tools for hacking is a hex editor. You pull out your hex editor and you start looking through the picture. Okay, so it says it's a GIMP XCF file. So now you know what the file type is, right? You know that it's a JPEG, right? And you can start looking inside. Feeling kind of clever now, right? Here's your duck again. The duck is hiding something. Remember, it says, leave no stone unturned, no page uncovered. So we know the duck is hiding something and that there's probably more than one layer because of the no page uncovered in the clue. You think some more. So you get out I think this is GIMP. Yeah, you get out GIMP, right? And you take a look at this image and you look and see, aha, there's another layer. And what does it say? Duckling's first stego.
And
There
that
you
would
go.
be a flag.
You got it. That's another flag. You post that in the flag site, at the CTF site. You got 10 points. So now if you answered all 3 questions correctly, you have 13 points. I just put this picture in here because I like it.
High five. You
It's
did
a
it.
dog asking a question or a dog raising its hand or a dog doing a high five. Whatever it is, I just like the picture. Okay? And this is what it's like. You sit around the table together with a whole bunch of friends. Honestly, there's a whole lot less caffeine on this table than I'm used to seeing, and a whole lot less alcohol on this table than I'm used to seeing. Every time I've done a CTF, it seems to involve a lot of caffeine and copious amounts of alcohol. But you sit around with your friends. You can do it. You can do it in person. You can do it virtually. As you can tell, at least that the examples we just went through were online examples that can be done virtually. But as you heard earlier, some of the CTF for DEF CON requires physical presence. For example, having one of the badge, a DEF CON badge. 1 year, the DEF CON badge was a phonograph record. For example.
Yeah, it was literally a freaking record that you had to figure out how to attach to a lanyard, and the only thing was the needle hole in the middle. Like you had to walk around with a little mini vinyl record as your freaking badge. It's stupid shit.
Looking kind of like Flava Flav, except you had a record on your chest. It was pretty funny, and encoded in that phonograph record were CTF clues, CTF puzzles, and a whole bunch of really cool music. Keep going. Anyways, point is, everybody gets to join together. Everybody gets to have fun. That's what a CTF is all about. And you win prizes, like the black badge we were talking about a moment ago. User badge on the left is a black badge. That black badge actually has uranium in it. The one on the left. In one of those, either I think the dark orange one in the upper right corner of that is actually uranium. A very, very small amount. But black badges are special because they allow you to attend DEF CON for the rest of your life without ever paying again. So they're kind of cool. They could be worth $300 a year, depending how long you live. That could be add up to a lot of money, or how many DEF CON you go to. See, and the other thing about CTFs is when you play CTFs, winning teams at CTFs get job offers. It sounds silly, but it's actually true. I know many people in winning CTF teams who get approached by companies, not just 3-letter agencies, offering them opportunities for work. Okay? So next up, we'll talk about badge life.
Yeah, I'm going to run through this a little bit quickly. So badge life, why do it? Basically because it's fun and it lets you showcase how cool you are and how cool ideas that you have or cool stuff you want to do. Began when DEF CON itself started doing a puzzle badge in 2006, where instead of just a plastic card with DEF CON written on it, they had a PCB with LEDs and puzzles and so on, and it evolved into little DEF CON trinkets and then full on PCB design projects. And this is enabled by the fact that it's a lot easier nowadays to design your own PCB stuff, printed circuit boards, than it used to be. There's free software. There's a very inexpensive fabrication overseas. And there are even members of the furry community who have, next slide, who have machines like this, who will take your newly made printed circuit board and put all the components on it so you don't have to hand solder them. So what they can do, besides looking cool and flashy, You can represent a cause. You can use them as a way to raise money. People have made them with Wi-Fi, with Bluetooth, with low frequency radio, to act as a MIDI synthesizer, to act as a serial controller, to act as a way to interface with cars. You can anything you can think of. Someone's probably made a badge for it already, and if they haven't, you should make one. Defcon first badge again. Hackers for Satan, I think.
Yeah, that's Hackers for Satan. Yes.
This was a real, genuine NES cartridge with a custom ROM attached to it.
It's part of the non-binary group.
I think, is that a triple?
Yes, that's
Yeah, it should be.
Non-binary triple.
QueerCon also does a badge. This one used a phone cable to talk to other badges.
Yes,
and if you don't feel like you're up to making a full badge, that's okay. There's a shitty add-on standard, which is for people who just want to make a little thing that doesn't do very much but can attach to other badges. This was the first version, and then they made a more advanced version with more pins. And people do stuff like this and other cool stuff where they just take art and put it on a PCB, and then people really like it, so they buy it.
Kind of ran long on the time here. Sorry about that. We got to wrap up, but I hope that you guys found this interesting, informative about DEF CON. Maybe some of you didn't really know about it and are interested now, or it's just one of those things that, oh, okay, well, it's cool to know that it exists. If you want to connect with other furs that are interested in this kind of stuff, we have a Telegram group that's very active. Got like over 600 people in it. That are it's at the handle is at Defcon Furs, all spelled out, DEFCONFURS, and that's our main like chat. And then our Twitter is DC Furs. That's how you can connect with us, see what we're doing, see what's going on. And oh, somebody found something in our booth. I see that in the Twitch chat there. But yeah, we hope you all had a good time. Alofoxx, and then we had Steve and Fixus.
Yeah,
Yes.
That was my little segue there.
Yeah, our
and we hope
swag shirt. Thank you so much for attending. Hope you had a good time. Hope you learned something. Please feel free to reach out to any of us. We're all we shared our information at the beginning. Please, we love talking about this stuff. We love sharing this stuff. We love bringing more people into the community and helping everybody find their hacker bliss. So thank you.
Yeah, and enjoy Furality.
Indeed, enjoy Furality. Thank you, Furality, for hosting us, actually. Thank you very much.
All right, that's it.